Hi, I guess the question today is how many tool holders is too many? And well, you see this one down here, I just took the tool that was in there out. It's a bit of a weird tool hold for that one, and then I used that in the lathe for shaping a keyway. Now the shape is nearly ready, so I won't be needing to do that too often anymore, but it did bring up the question to me, have I got enough or do I need some more, because I'm still messing about. Anyway, that's a 250 102 holder. The 102 denotes it's got a V in it, and the 1 is the size of the holder, the 02 is the type of holder. So you can get these in 250 0, 250 1s, 252s, 253s and so on and so forth. The bigger that first number on the second set of numbers is the size of your tool post. Mine being a 250 1111 or an AXA size. So clearly this is the wrong size tool for that holder. I should have a bigger boring bar in that. Not to worry. It was the only 102 style holder I had left, so I stuck a little boring bar in that, a little 6mm boring bar in that one. So this is my array of tool holders, and as you can see I've just purchased 3 more. They all came from the same place, and I've tried American holders. Very good, very nice. The finishes look very nice on them, but they are dimensioned correctly. They're not ground very nicely. I don't know, it's they just don't give you the look that you're looking for, but they're alright, they're good, they're good. All of those are Chinese, apart from a couple of American ones which I can't be asked to sort out, but there is some American ones in there, but the rest of them, I think I've got 4 American ones, the rest are Chinese. And this Australian place put some up, and I thought, oh, let's try some Australian ones, see if the lady in Australia is making any good. But they came in boxes made from China, and I thought, having 3, and because of the differences between them, this would make a nice video to show you what you get. I have the wedge type tool post, not the piston type. Supposedly they give a better hold. I've not got any problems with it. It's a bit janky being the Chinese one, but it works repeatably really well. I'm very happy with that. Anyhow, this is the selection of tool holders I have. So I have a Gans or Glans type parting tool which takes carbide inserts. It's only the 2mm version, and the tip it came with was absolutely awesome, and these tin coated replacement ones are not as good. And this is in a Chinese tool holder, and they grind them nice. They look like a finished item when they come. All the surfaces are smooth, as you can see with these ones that come from America, although they're very good dimensioned. They don't look as good because they've still got milling marks in them and what have you, but you know, functionality is better than these ones which are ground nicely, slightly. There's not a lot of difference in it, but I will show you the difference in it. So I've got the parting blade, which obviously gets used quite a lot. Then I have this boring bar, and as you can see it was set up upside down for the last job. Oh, it's got a threading bar in it, so I was doing some threading like I normally do. I thread away from the chuck, so that was obviously a right hand thread away from the chuck, internal. And here's another standard 101. I was using that for doing the aluminium pulleys the other day. Oh, I've got a knock at the door. Don't disturb by the doorbell, just got some more tools to turn up. stainless steel brushes, and some diamond burrs. Very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. Awesome. That's one of the job. Anyway, back to the tool holders. So yeah, the 101 with a carbide boring bar put into it. Very nice, very nice. This is one of the tools which came with the tool post originally, was it? I can't remember. It looks like no, this is, oh, I don't remember. This is one of the American ones because it's got the centre punch things into it. Maybe I bought a set of 4 from America, I can't remember. Or maybe the tool post came from America, I just can't remember. Anyway, it's got a knurling. You can put different knurling wheels into it, and now I've used it a few times. And the last time I used it was a long time ago because it's such a weird shape and what have you. And I was doing a keyway with that one. Anyway, I've done knurling with it as well. It does a knurl, you know, that's what it says on the tin, basically. I've got a load of 102s. Now this is a double-sided tool, as you can see. I use that side for threading, and I use that side for a couple of different radiuses in that. And yeah, the tool has to be swapped around all the time in that one. So that's a double usage tool which I keep on having to fiddle with the screws, and every time you undo and redo a screw it's going to wear out, clearly, isn't it, eh? So that's one thing I want to get away from, double use screws, double use tools. Here is another double use tool. I don't use this side very often. I'll put it in for a certain job and it just stays in there until I need to change it out. Well, on this side I've got my little handmade boring bars I made out of a broken tap. Works a treat. And I use this for truing up holes before putting a drill through it. So I'll put a small drill into it, then I'll true it up with this, and then I'll start drilling, because once you've got a straight hole the drill tends to follow it. So that's what I use that for a lot. And the other one, I've got my chamfer tool, so got a 90-degree chamfer tool, on the other side a little boring bar. This just gets used a lot. I use this little boring bar here. It's made out of Momax. It really holds an edge good. And okay, it's too long and too thin, but I only use it for light boring, and it does its job. It can do a small 8mm hole deep and true it up, so when you put your threads in it's perfect. I use that an awful lot. This is another tool that came with the tool post. It's parting blade. Don't use it very often, but it is handy when you need to use it for brass or aluminium. Get out of the way, don't need that down here. Another double use tool. Don't use this very often. I don't know what tool was made for. It's maybe better for the shaper, I don't know. Just use that occasionally because I keep it sharp, so when I blunt off another tool I just want to quickly do a bit of right hand turning, I'll stick this in and take some roughing cuts with that. And it's got a threading tool on the other side which I use all the time. Another double use tool. And the reason why it's got 2 tools in it is because, well, that tool's short, doesn't need a whole tool holder, so it's got one on the other side, and I have to change centre height every time. So the idea of these 3 was to get rid of some of these double tools. And let me show you the rest of the selection of tools I have. So I have a right turning tool, 12mm boring bar, an 8mm boring bar, a form tool, a 55-degree form tool. I can use it for turning as well. That's modified for a job. I've modified that quite heavily for a job one time, just to get into a little place. And I've hand sharpened that. I must have been doing some soft material with that because I've hand honed that one. Anyway, yeah, off subject. A chamfering tool for coming in from that angle instead of the other one was from that angle. A shear tool for doing really light cuts down shafts. a standard high-speed steel turning tool, and I've nearly finished that, and I really have to reprofile that. That was about this long. I've now kept on sharpening it. It keeps on getting down, down, and down, and down. So I use that a lot, mainly for aluminium. You can see that was used for steel. And then our left-hand turning tool. That's took some abuse. Another right-hand turning tool, but this time instead of DCMT, it got a CCMT in it, and that was broken from the last time I used it. It just broke. And then some brazed carbide, which I made a brazed carbide tool in that one there. So that's the setup I have. And you'll be thinking to yourself, well, that's got to be enough tools in it, eh? But no, it's not. You know, I still come to the drawer and have to pull out a selection. So I've got some tools here. I like this tool a lot, but I can't get to use it very often because it means setting it up. Don't like that one too much. I'll just use this one for trepanning. That's an internal boring bar for threading. I've just used that one. This one's nice as well. It's got a nice big radius on it. I quite like using that for nice little cuts on softer materials. Internal grooving tool, used that the other day. Don't know what that is, but I used it the other day for something, can't remember. Another little grooving tool, another little turning tool. You know, just loads of tools. I'm about to use this tool here. It's a 55-degree tool. There's another threading tool here. I used that not so long back. And I use this tool a lot as well. It's got a nice big radius on the end of it. I always try and use this tool when I'm struggling on finishes. I've got some higher rake internal boring bars there, and a lower rake internal boring bar here. So that's nearly enough flat. That one's a really high rake tool. This one's a high rake on it, and that one's got a high rake on it. I just like using them occasionally. Never use that, no, I've never used that. That came with lathe. And then it carries on, I'm telling you. Alright, that's enough of that. You get the gist of it. Now I've seen how filthy these are all, I'm just going to give them a quick clean before I put them all back, because they are filthy, and clean up the shelf that they live on, because that's getting a little bit overwhelmed with chips now as well. And then I'll show you what the problem is. Right, so I've cleaned all the holders up before putting them away to that kind of condition. Just most of the swarf out, and all the rear surfaces de-swarfed. This is an unground one, or one that's been blackened after being ground. Just there to show you basically. So that's that done. Put that one away. So I am doing a threading job. 55-degree threading tool, so I've just made a 55-degree threading tool and just get a bit of a hone on the tip. And on the tip, and a bit on the top. So I'm going to be using that, so I'll need a holder to put that in. I made the aluminium pulley the other day using this 38-degree tool, just honed up to the edges, and a bit of a hone on top, not too much on top, and a lot of aluminium welding on it. Nice. So I can use that holder, not a problem. That's a standard square based holder, no V-groove in it. That won't be a problem for that one. This one here is a ground holder, and if we look at the ground surface and the V-groove on that side and then on that side, as you can see this side is not quite as square as that side, and there's bits missing down here. So it hasn't quite cleaned up all the way. So we'll test that one. Not tested it yet, we'll give that one a test. And this one here, that side looks nicely ground. Bit of chatter in it, not too much. And that side looks nicely ground, so we'll test that one. this one here, yeah, nicely ground, and this one's a bit wider, but it's okay ground, it's pretty straight, so we'll test that one. This one here, so one of the new ones I've just got out of the packet, so this has got a little bit less grinding on that side. This one here, they're pretty equal, and this one here, a bit tapered on that one, and this one's a bit tapered on that one. Let's do some testing. And when the post is completely off, it enters nice and easy, not a problem. And this side, let's have a little bit, it goes on. Let me get the tail stuck a bit further out of the way. There we go. So it inserts, enters the back, dead easy, and when we come around to lock, it hasn't passed this tool post locking. The tool holder locking lever has not passed the tool post holding lever, and when you get it towards level with the lever, it is solid. Okay, that's that one. And again, the grind on that one, yeah, like I said, pretty even. Next, this one here, fully off. Enters nicely, locks. This time when we bring it down, that's about where it starts to get tight, and then it locks there. And, well, has it locked or is it bottomed out? It's bottomed out. Okay, so it's gone a little bit too far for me. It has locked in, but it's just bottomed out. And it don't matter where you put it, it's the same. So that one's a little bit on the loose side, still holds alright, but it's got a very lightweight cutting tool in it. No, it hasn't. It's got a really heavy cutting tool in it. It's got a carbide, brazed in carbide bit in it. It does take some good heavy cuts, to be fair. And the grind on that one, so it's a bit heavier grind, a bit lighter grind on this side, so obviously they've had to stop grinding and they haven't got enough material left. Because that looks like it's full depth grinding, and that looks like it hasn't quite been ground all the way. There's not a lot in it on that one, it's hard to tell. This one here, goes on, starts locking here, fully locked by there. Good, feels really good. Not ground all the way there and tapered. Not ground all the way, not tapered. So although that doesn't look like it's as good a tool, that one holds better, it feels better. This is obviously a different manufacturer. This is manufactured in America, so it goes on and it locks in the perfect position. It's always a bit tight coming off. Goes on, locks in the perfect position. I think it's a bit tight coming off because it's alright that time. Because of the blacking, I don't know, I ain't got a clue. It's alright, it feels good. Now, the three new ones. Bear in mind, these came in boxes and they're the inspection sticker of number 5. Bear in mind, I am not a number, I'm a free man. This was number 5. So, the first one locks in, parallel with the lever. I can push it all the way to the lock stop, but to be fair, I'll be quite happy at that with a little bit left. That's one. Next one, it's all the way to the lock stop. It doesn't, no problem, it locks in, but it's always the lock stop. I know it'll cut alright, but it's all the way to the lock stop. And this one here, pretty much level with the lever where it's locked up, so that one's pretty good. So there's 3 different holders there with 3 different locks. I don't know what the tolerances are on these tool holders, but clearly those are right at the limit of the maximum width allowed on those tapers, and this one's getting towards the centre, so this one's an OK one. This is probably a B grade, and they're like Z grade ones. These ones here are like a Z grade. So this is why I stopped buying them. When I saw the Australian seller, I thought, well, they'll probably be made in Australia and as good as the American ones. And obviously the Americans like their tax, so it doesn't matter what you buy them at, usually customs carry a cup hold of them and then stick a load of money on when it comes through, so you never know what price you're going to get from America, because they don't like doing trading with the rest of the world, do they really? They like gathering taxes instead of trading, by the looks of it. But not to worry. This is what you get with tool holders. This is why I'm thinking about making my own tool holders, because basically I think I could do with another 20 of these, probably 30. Just so all my tools are set up. And the other thing you need to do is I have another quick change tool post holder. This one is a MCO tool holder. It's not as quick change as the other one, and one of the locking bolts is missing. They have like T-bolts in them. And these are the tool holders. And these are £90 each. £93 each. Okay, I'll stick it next to that one. You can see the size difference. These range from around about £14 each to about £17 each. Some pushing £19, £20 each. Then of course, depending on what country they come from, there'll be an import tax on them as well, which could bust them up to £30 or £40 each. So when they come in from China, they're a good deal and they work. So, but I'm getting a bit unhappy with the tolerance on them. After all of these American ones, I started noticing it. And these I'm not buying at 93 quid, so I'm making them. So I will be asking myself soon, is it worth making your own tool holders? Or is it just best to buy them, because they are pretty good, to be fair, and they all work, and they do exactly what they say on the tin. I'm just really showing you the pros and cons of these tool holders. There's no need to measure them. I was going to get the measuring equipment out and show you the difference between these. As you can imagine, there's going to be a few tenths, maybe a thousandth difference in the width of the tapers there. I ain't bothering. It just ain't worth it really. 2 pins out, adjustable parallels or gauge blocks or whatever, like, yeah, just to measure them. I don't think it's worth it. I think you've seen what you need to see there by the way the tool holders lock into the tool post. Don't be discouraged from buying these, but also if you think you can machine them, have a go at machining them yourself, because I don't think you can go too far wrong, as long as you can make a squarish block, because these, yeah, they're very good, they're very repeatable. But I think if you can make a very square block and cut a dovetail accurately, you'll be able to do them unground in EN19 4140 steel. Obviously in the UK that usually comes pre-tempered, so you get a 43-45 Rockwell, that's standard, which is what these generally tend to be, around about the mid to high 40s hardness, Rockwell C. So yeah, have a go at making them if you think, but if you want to buy them, I would just either pay the extra $1 and get them from America and be extremely happy with them, or get twice to 3 times as many and be reasonably happy with them. So we're mounted up in the tool post here, and I've got a tool holder in, and like I say, I'm changing the tool bit. When I put the tool bit away, obviously don't want no swarf inside my drawer. You saw when they go away, there is no swarf on them. When they're in the tool holder as well, you know. They just go back on the shelf basically. Bit of a shake off, back on the shelf, and then before they go back in again, I give them a quick clean out. So I'm going to do some threading. If I put the threading tool in that way, I can do a reverse threading, but I don't think I'm caring too much about reverse threading on this one. We're just going to do some conventional towards the chuck threading, and this is how easy it is to set up one of these. Literally just do your Allen keys up, your grub screws, your set screws, I'm going to call them, till they're nipped. Obviously set your depth, set any kind of angle that you want right there. If you want to get a bit of an offset, bit extra offset on a 2 straight tool, set that up right now and just push that one right into the back. Give them a bit of a nip. And up. And set centre height. My lathe is dead easy. 4 1/4 inches exactly, so I can get well within the ballpark with a steel ruler. So the pinch nut at the top, and then the adjusting nut there. So we'll have that off. Bring that in. Amazing, that's going to be close, not close enough. Too high, too low, bang on. So that's the tip of that tool, is bang on 4 1/4 inches now. When you're happy with that, generally recently I've just been using my finger and just finger tightening. Those spring wavy washers do the job, but you can just give it a bit more of a nip like that. No need to go too mad on it, because they like I say, they do hold with your fingers. You could just get 2 of these nailed nuts, and that's one done. She's set up. I'll put that back in again, tighten it in, give it a good tug like I usually do, like that. That will be the same height every time. These are good holders. Even these ones which have to have too much of a thing, they do repeat really well. So that will be set up ready for threading now, and that will work. So that's where they will sit on top of my lathe. It's a bit flexible. I am just doing some modifications today. It's nice that it tilts and all the oil from them spills off back onto the lathe and goes everywhere, but basically they live up here like thus. Thusly so. I'll try and keep the high-speed steel together this time. That is high-speed steel, that is high-speed steel, that is high-speed steel, there's high-speed steel. Now there's some carbide there, brazed carbide at the end. And then we've got some high-speed steel which I'm just about to be using. There you go, that's a line of them, and I've got more underneath the lathe as well. So there we go, that's how I keep these are the main use ones. We'll start with the right turning tool. Always keep the right turning tool on the left hand side, obviously. Then I keep some boring bars here. I've usually got another boring bar there, but it's been used in another boring holder. Then I put that odd tool there. It's like a separator. I always forget what it is. I have to pick it up and look at it. That goes there as a separator. Then I have a whole row of high-speed steel all together. and generally I keep the turning tool up this end here, the right turning tool, and I know when this boring bar's sticking out, that's where the OD chamfering tool is, and then the ID chamfering tool sticks out, and you can see that straight away. Some more double tools set up there, so I have to keep on flicking through them. Once I get all my tool holders, it'll be even more sorted out than that, and I will make a rack. When I make the new lathe stand, the complete lathe stand, it will have a new rack, and all of them will be way more visible than that, basically. But yeah, lovely, eh? All lined up. Let's pull my stuff back again. Bearing and motor oil goes that side, slide weight oil goes that side, cutting fluid in the centre with the cutting fluid brush in it, and a bit of WD-40 there, covering everything up, and then me threading fluid there. Awesome. Put my power back into the right position, and obviously I've got an oil stone up there, over here, and then a USB hub up there. The USB hub powers these USB lights for the moment until the new lathe stand's finished. And you can see the camera mount which you're actually on here. This is the camera mount, which can swing all the way down, right around to the back, and hang right down next to the lathe, come right round here, look in this side, or as it usually is up here somewhere right next to my head, and pointing down at the workpiece. All good. So that's an hour's work, which took 4 hours today. But it's a lot cleaner, so most of the time went into cleaning and inspecting new tools. Oh, there's another new tool here, needs to fit up there as well. I'm going to have to find a space for that one. Oh, and a space for that one. So, well, let's rearrange it all again.